The NFL may be facing its biggest nightmare yet. Aaron Donald could return and join Myles Garrett to create a defensive monster nobody can survive. But with age, pressure, and a brutal schedule ahead, can the Rams actually finish the mission?
Let's head out west. Tom, what can you tell us about Aaron Donald and a potential return to the Rams? We saw this footage courtesy of TMZ Sports of him working out at the Rams facility last week. Where are we right now in Donald and the Rams?
Listen, this is all up to Aaron Donald, Peter, at this point, whether or not he's going to come out of that 2-year retirement. There's not really recruiting going on. The Rams made clear they'd welcome Aaron Donald back. They're now giving him space and support. You want to come over to the facility and work out? Come over to the facility and work out. I think we have to consider the history here. There's not a lot of precedent for this. There's only one player in the Hall of Fame who took multiple seasons off and came back and played again. That was Deion Sanders, who was still productive but was a part-time player with the Ravens at that tail end of his career. For Aaron Donald to come back, if we're being realistic, and the Rams are, he's probably not going out there and playing 70 snaps a game. What they would like to do is, all right, 2-minute pass rush situations, third downs, keep him fresh, Lewis, for those highest leverage moments, and then basically force teams to figure out who in the world are you going to double on a front that's got Myles Garrett, Kobie Turner, and Byron Young as well.
Yeah, I would add that from what we're hearing from the Rams side, it's like Aaron Donald has communicated he wants to be in the best shape possible if he is going to make this return, and that workout was just part of that. Lewis, what would Donald's return mean, though, for the rest of the NFC, as obviously that front four will be as dominant as any in the league?
Yeah, first of all, you have to say this. Look, you have to assume that if Aaron does come back, this is the epitome of trust between player and team. Meaning, if he does come back, you trust the fact that he is making a decision based on the fact that he believes he can be dominant once again. And who am I or anyone else to doubt Aaron Donald? He's probably the one guy really in the history of my time covering the NFL that I would trust the most. What would it mean for defenses? Can you picture what their sub rush would look like with Myles Garrett, Byron Young, Aaron Donald, Kobie Turner, Braden Fisk, some form or fashion of those 4 or 5 guys up front, like dialing it up for a team against a team in a 3rd and 10 type situation where they need to throw? I mean, come on now. You're talking about maybe the best defensive tackle of all time, or one of the top 2 defensive tackles of all time. If he comes back, it's because he believes that he's going to terrorize again, and that is scary for everyone else.
It is. Kmart, with Donald back in the fold, if he were to return, where does that put the Rams like as an all-time unit, just on paper?
I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I already saw the Rams as the favorite for the Super Bowl just going into the season. You tell me Aaron Donald will return? Now I'm putting all my chips in and I'm saying, okay, I expect Sean McVay to lead this team to the Super Bowl. At every point, if you're an offense, how do we attack them? How do we keep them from stopping us? Because everywhere you look, there's a playmaker. And Aaron Donald, despite coming out of retirement, coming back, if he were to do that, he hasn't played in a while. But you know that, as Tom was saying, it's for those special moments. It's for those situations where you need that guy. Listen, when I think of Aaron Donald, I still picture that Super Bowl defining play against Joe Burrow. Like, he's the reason that Joe Burrow is still looking for a chance to get back to the Super Bowl. This play sealed the deal. And so that is the image when I think of Aaron Donald. You tell me that man does not need a ton of time to make that same play. And that's what's scary about the proposition of him joining this team.
Myles Garrett is wearing a Rams uniform for the first time, giving Los Angeles one of the most feared pass rushes in football, pairing the former Defensive Player of the Year with Sean McVay's championship core has only raised expectations as the Rams set their sights on another Super Bowl run. Now, the Rams didn't just add stars this offseason, they added production. You got Matthew Stafford, who led the NFL in passing yards and touchdown passes last season. Puka Nacua topped the league in receptions. Davante Adams led all wide receivers in touchdowns and catches. And then, of course, Myles Garrett arriving after leading the NFL in sacks with Cleveland. That is an all-star cast in Los Angeles. Let's go ahead and welcome in our all-stars here. We got Ryan Wilson and JP Acosta. Fellas, you heard me just lift everything out there. So, Wilson, I'm coming to you first. The pressure on the Rams to win a Super Bowl has to be at an all-time high. There's almost no excuse.
Hey, Katie. Hey, JP. I'm giggling to myself, Katie, because as we all know, you're a 49ers fan. And the haterade is strong with Katie today because you got to talk about what are your big rivals. Here's the thing with the Rams. These are what we call rich people problems because the things they're dealing with are the things that teams like the Browns and the Cardinals and the Titans would love to have to deal with because you talk about the plethora of riches they have, most recently in the form of Myles Garrett. Prior to that, they got Trent McDuffie this offseason. The biggest question for them in terms of what they have to look out for, if you want to call it that, is they got to give Puka Nacua a new deal. And that's probably going to cost them around $40 million a year. That's JSN money. That's Jamar Chase money. And he probably deserves it. Both those players got paid at age 24, age 25. That's where Puka is right now. And there is salary cap room to do that. So Les Snead and Sean McVay have been great about that. The other thing to consider is, does Matthew Stafford turn into an old man overnight? I don't think it's happening. That's a back burner question. I think the first question on the front burner is taking care of Puka, and when will that happen?
I would be a little worried about Matthew Stafford turning back into an old man, but they do have the immortal chamber there still on standby. But I think my biggest concern is the offensive tackle, specifically at left tackle. Alaric Jackson is still facing a potential suspension for domestic battery charge from the offseason. It'll be his second violation of the NFL personal conduct policy, so that could result in a minimum 6-game suspension, but it could go up to even a whole year ban. If he misses time, David Questenberry, who's more of a journeyman, or Keegan Trost, who's a rookie, would start at that left tackle spot, and I just don't think that's the biggest conductor for the Rams' success in the passing game. We've seen, as much as Matthew Stafford has played at the MVP level over the last couple of seasons, he is not good when pressured because he's a lot older. He can't really move the same way that he does. His success rate when pressured drops by 20%. So the biggest concern for me is getting that offensive tackle spot lined up and ironed out, especially if Alaric Jackson does get suspended, because that could be the biggest difference between them winning a Super Bowl and then bowing out early. I mean, if everything works right for this Rams team, this team should win 13, 14 plus games and win the Super Bowl. It's just that kind of talent on this roster. I think even with the issues that they have potentially at left tackle, this quarterback, coach, receiving core is going to completely overwhelm opponents. And now they have a pass rush that they can force the issue with. Myles Garrett is going to be a true monster in this defense, especially with the way they run a lot of their schemed up pressures, a lot of their stunts and pass rush games. There's a chance he could just go and break the sack record again this year. That's not out of the realm of possibility, but I think this team is going to be the Super Bowl champions in LA by the time it's all said and done.
Here's the thing, you didn't even mention Aaron Donald potentially coming back. That's how good this team is on defense. We talked about Trent McDuffie, Jalen Watson, and then on offense, we've just talked about all the things they do. I think 12-5 feels realistic. That's over the number and one below what JP thinks best case scenario might be. They do have tough games. They have to play the 49ers twice, of course, Denver, the Eagles, the Bills. They have games against Kansas City, Dallas, and of course they have to play Seattle 2 more times. So 12-5 feels like that'll get you close to winning the division, definitely in the playoffs. I think JP's right. I think this is the best team in the NFL right now. No disrespect to Seattle, but what they've done this offseason is bonkers.
Absolutely bonkers.
The NFL may be facing its biggest defensive nightmare yet. Aaron Donald is gone, or at least everyone thought he was. But after footage showed the legendary defender working out at the Rams facility, one shocking possibility has returned. What if Aaron Donald comes back? Because if that happens, Los Angeles would not just have a great defense. They could have the most terrifying pass rush in football. Myles Garrett, Aaron Donald, Kobie Turner, Byron Young. A defensive front capable of destroying game plans before they even begin. The question for every offensive coordinator would be simple. Who are you going to double team? Because if you focus on Donald, Garrett gets free. If you stop Garrett, Donald can take over. And that is the nightmare the NFL does not want to see. But before fans start imagining another championship parade, one major question remains. Can Aaron Donald really return and still dominate? The Rams have made their position clear. The door is open. But this decision belongs completely to Aaron Donald. Los Angeles is not forcing him back. They are giving him the freedom to decide if his body is ready for another NFL season. And that is important because this comeback would be almost impossible to compare. Only one Hall of Fame player has stepped away for multiple seasons and returned, Deion Sanders. But even Sanders came back as a part-time player. Aaron Donald would not return to simply be another name on the roster. The Rams know he probably cannot play 70 snaps every single week. They do not need that. They need him for the moments that decide championships. Third downs, 2-minute drills, playoff drives, the final defensive possession. Because Aaron Donald does not need an entire game to change everything. He only needs one play. And if that one play comes while standing next to Myles Garrett, the rest of the NFL could be in serious trouble. Even without Aaron Donald, the Rams already look like a championship contender. Matthew Stafford just finished a season where he led the NFL in passing yards and touchdown passes. Puka Nacua became the league leader in receptions. Davante Adams continued proving he is one of football's elite receivers. And now, Myles Garrett arrives after leading the NFL in sacks. This is not just a talented roster. This is a united roster. This is a team built with Super Bowl expectations. But success creates pressure. The Rams now face the problem every great team wants: too many stars to pay. Puka Nacua's next contract could approach the $40 million per year range, matching the value of the NFL's elite receivers. And Los Angeles knows keeping this championship window open will require difficult decisions. But every championship dream has one weakness. And for the Rams, it could be protecting their quarterback. The biggest threat to the Rams may not be Aaron Donald's age. It may be the offensive line. Matthew Stafford is still playing at an elite level, but pressure has always been the biggest challenge. When defenders collapse the pocket, his efficiency drops significantly. Now Los Angeles faces uncertainty at left tackle. Alaric Jackson could potentially miss time because of a possible NFL suspension. If he is unavailable, the Rams may have to depend on veteran options or young replacements. And against a brutal schedule, one weakness could destroy an entire season. Because the Rams will face some of the NFL's strongest teams. The 49ers twice, Philadelphia, Buffalo, Kansas City, Dallas, Denver, and Seattle twice. A realistic projection puts Los Angeles around 12-5. Good enough to fight for the NFC West. Good enough to make a Super Bowl run. But there will be no easy path. The Rams already have one of the most dangerous rosters in football. But if Aaron Donald truly returns, if he can still be dominant, then every offense in the NFL has the same problem. How do you stop a defense with Myles Garrett and Aaron Donald on the same field? Because sometimes a championship is not won by having more talent. Sometimes it is won by having one player who can create one impossible moment. And Aaron Donald has always been that player.
Yo, mic check 1 to 2, -1, -2. Game over for this video, folks. Smash that like button, drop a comment, and subscribe to stay in the huddle for more. This is NFL Madness, bringing the heat and signing out.